Hi everyone, today I want to talk about the things people with anxiety do that come across as rude. So, cancel plans. That is one of the things people do that comes off rude. They tend to either have an excuse or agree to the plan and then cancel last minute or just not show up. It's most likely that they have experienced severe anxiety that causes them to cancel plans that they were initially interested in. I know I do this myself because I have high anxiety and PTSD. I do this even with doctor's appointments. It's not intentional. It just happens, right? It seems like the closer we get to, it sounds like a great idea, but the closer time comes to the actual event or going out or whatever, then it seems like the more anxiety that comes on right then and there, and it makes it almost impossible. It almost paralyzes us, if you will. So just remember, it's not intentional. It's just, it comes across rude, okay? Not responding to calls or text. Their anxiety holds them back from responding to text messages or returning phone calls. If they engage in such, they will experience the dreadful symptoms of anxiety, which would much rather be avoided. So sometimes some people that call you are maybe a trigger for you, or maybe you know that they're not the most positive people when they're calling you, and sometimes it's just easier to avoid them than to deal with that stress, or if you know that's a trigger for you, then it's easier just to ignore the call and perhaps come back when it's easy, or call them back when it's easier for you, or when you're able to control when the time is or how long the call is. So that's just, do not take it personal. It's just, everybody's different, right? And so if it means ignoring texts, ignoring calls to keep your mental health, mental health good, then that's what you need to do. But the person on the other end, please do not take it personal. Please understand that the person is dealing the best they can with the anxiety and stress that they're dealing with. Also, people with anxiety may come across rude because they're easily agitated. Sometimes they get snappy with people and have an abrupt or harsh tone, or they blow up sometimes, that even at little things that seem small. Because I know for myself, it's like I don't know how to respond to things, and it's like and so it's easier for me just to like snap, or just to like be quiet, tell someone to be quiet. Hey, can you just be quiet? Because it's like my anxiety is taking control over my thinking. I can't process my thought pattern very well because I'm already stressed. So if someone can just be quiet, that which is coming off rude, right? And it sounds agitated or being snappy. We're not Karens, if you will. I'm just saying, but it's just our own way of trying to cope, trying to deal with things, right? Anxiety just makes us more on edge, so that sometimes the slightest things can push us over the edge. Just the slightest things, like maybe somebody coming over unannounced, maybe a disruption in your day, an unexpected disruption. We understand life has a whole bunch of different unforeseen circumstances. However, the best that we can learn how to cope with those and how to deal with those, everybody's different on their journey of healing, right? So like earlier in my dealing or my journey, I was the worst person. I would get agitated so bad. However, I have improved, but I'm not the best, right? I still get agitated. It's like when I want an answer, I want it now, like now, like don't I need an answer like right now, and I get agitated. Or if my plans change, or someone, not my plans, but if my plans do get changed, somebody else just drops the bomb and makes it so my plans are changed, then I get frustrated really easily. So because it creates a lot of anxiety inside, and the pounding heart, or maybe even dizziness or a headache, and it's just, anxiety is real, my friends. Anxiety is real. Also, when we have anxiety or triggers, we distance ourselves from people until we can feel like it's time or ready to deal with people in general. So I know that even when I went to college, I felt that it was better to have online classes than it was to actually go to class. So distancing myself from people made it just seem easier. It's one less thing I had to worry about, one less thing I had to stress about, right? People with anxiety sometimes distance themselves from people because they want to focus on themselves. They don't want to waste their time and energy if they're not in their ideal state, because it just won't be fun for them to be around. So they distance themselves. So just food for thought. Not only are we taking ourselves into consideration, but we're taking you guys or whomever, our loved ones, into consideration. So if we distance ourselves from you, we're not in the best mind place, or the head space to be around, right? And it won't be fun for you, it won't be fun for us. And we love to keep the peace with with everybody, but I'm just telling you, it's super hard when you have stress, because you become very snappy at people. And so it's just all about learning and taking one step at a time, one breath at a time, one moment at a time. So do not be offended if we distance ourselves from people. Also, lack of eye contact. When anxiety becomes overbearing, it can be difficult to maintain eye contact, whether it be while speaking or listening during a conversation, which I find that very true, because I know that sometimes it just feels like you just get anxiety, especially if I'm like today I was talking to my doctor and he's like looking me dead in the eye today, and I was just like, it was so hard. I got more anxiety and more anxiety, right? Because it's already an anxiety situation to go to the doctor's office, or to be out in public and go to an appointment, and then for them to speak like right here with you, it's really hard. So avoiding eye contact, or just putting your head down or something like that. But mind you, people, I have anxiety, so it's not good for us just to keep on and just make excuses. We do need to grow. We do need to improve. Even if it's just like, okay, try to make eye contact. Try to better your attitude. Try, even if it's just one conversation at a time, one person at a time, one day at a time, one moment at a time. As long as you try to move forward and try to practice healthy behaviors while you have anxiety, it will become a lot easier in the long run. I'm not saying your anxiety goes away, but it becomes easier. I'm just saying, and it helps your brain to understand that there's more than one avenue to address the stress situations. Also, asking you to repeat yourself. Sometimes people with anxiety may have their mind in different place, and you can be overwhelmed with thoughts, otherwise known as brain fog. Sometimes it can be hard to process information, and they don't purposely do it. So I know for me, like, because your brain's going 100 miles an hour, or I don't know. And so when someone's talking to you, especially if a deep, serious conversation, or maybe instructions at work, if you can, the person with anxiety, watch your tone, but just say, hey, can you please repeat that? I've done that several occasions, like 4 or 5 times. Hey, not to be rude, I'm really trying to understand what you're saying. Can you please repeat that? It just didn't register with me. So the other person having to repeat themselves, please take into consideration, maybe you're speaking with somebody who has anxiety or brain fog, and so do not belittle them at that point. Just friendly in a friendly tone, just repeat yourself, right, as if you're just saying it for the first time. Also, not engaging in conversations. So I know that when you have anxiety, you don't want to engage in conversations, you're not wanting to be around people, you're not wanting to gain eyesight. So therefore, yeah, it makes sense not to engage in conversations. Sometimes people with anxiety can find conversations awkward or hard to maintain, especially in a group of people. They don't mean to be rude in any way. However, anxiety can manifest itself in many different ways. So it only makes sense that large groups of people are and just engaging in conversation can be hard, because it also So when conversation's two ways, right? Well, I know for me, conversation's two ways, and then that means that it's a requirement on me to give a feedback, or it's a requirement of me because two people. There has to be two people have a conversation back and forth, back and forth. So that creates an anxiety in me. It's kind of like being in an interview, right? You know that they're going to ask you questions and you have to answer back. It's kind of the same concept, and anxiety can be really high during those times of conversation. Even if it's your best friends, right? Some people are harder to talk to than others, and sometimes your best friend or is all you have, or if that's not even cutting it for you, may I suggest you just write in your journal and try to get things out, or write a letter to your loved one to keep the conversations going. You can always write your letters, and that way it's just easier for you to maintain your composure and help your anxiety not get worse. Talking too much or interrupting. Have you ever seen someone so nervous they just talk way too much? I am, because I am one of those. I do. If I will just hear myself just like ramble, right? And so, and then at that point, sometimes we become inconsiderate of others, and therefore we interrupt people as well. Occasionally, someone may get so anxious when they're out with friends, there is an awkward silence or no one is talking, so they feel the need to talk even more. So it might even seem like that we are that it's all about us, but actuality it's not all about us, even though the conversation may seem that way. But it's only because we felt that moment of silence in which it made us nervous, right? And so we just keep talking, and not letting anyone else talk, because the silence made us feel awkward, or a trigger for us as far as that goes. But I just wanted to come on today and then to share those things, or to let you know that people with anxiety, they do these things, but they do not mean to come off rude. They do not mean to come off rude. And this is definitely a life accounts and growing pains. Anybody who's experienced trauma or any kind of if you're a human being, let me tell you, you have some kind of anxiety going on, especially in the world we live in. It's critical times, hard to deal with. So I totally get it. So let's just be courteous to one another, or try to be. I know I am not the best at this. I am growing. As long as we keep moving forward and be the best me in 2023, if you could say that. Yeah, say I want to be the best me in 2023. I just really encourage you to do so. Make small steps. Make any kind of steps, go forward. Small steps do matter, and remember, everyone's journey is different. Thank you so much for watching Life Accounts and Growing Pains, and I will see you on the next video.